says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you lusting is the one you're loving?
We got a lot of things to cover today. Before I came in, there was a trending topic that I wanted to talk about, and it's all kind of tied in. I get a lot of comments, mostly on social media and other places, people who may tip in, who may not have a lot of melanin, and they think this show is all about race, or this whole channel is about race. And I bristle at that, because I look at the Sirius XM, there's like 100 plus channels. Is there a channel where folk can be free to talk about the things that impact them and their community that doesn't have to include you? And more importantly, we live in a world of all different kinds of people, all different walks of life. And I was actually having this conversation today with a gentleman. He's actually an author, Blair Walker. I'm gonna have he's a co-author. He wrote a book called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? And the book initially didn't do well because people, bristled at, the title. This is racist. And it's like, I always say, well, define racist. I've been called racist. Please define it. Just like when you call up and you identify as being white, please define it. And I'm not saying this to make anyone feel bad about being white or feeling bad. Yeah, I do want you to feel bad about calling me racist. I absolutely do. I want you to just turn your insides out. I want you to your stomach to hurt. I want you to feel really bad because you are horrible for that, because you can't really define it if you're calling me racist. If you're saying there's and if I ask you to define whiteness and that's racist, then you really are either ignorant or you're gaslighting or both. I'm not sure, but you're not part of this experiment that we're doing, which is to see if we can create humanity and community, to see if we can tap into the better angels, to see if people can extricate or to divorce themselves. Let me make it simple. Can you divorce yourself from the social structure that has you hating people? And you may not think you're hating people, but anytime you have a comment about somebody's complexion or their hair or, their culture, anytime you're posting pictures of people from a particular background and asking people to caption it, you're participating. And it doesn't matter what your complexion is. My point is, anti-blackness is part of the fabric of America. We all are infected with it, all of us. Whether you came here last week, whether your family's been here 6 generations, whether you came in through the hold of a ship, or whether you came in through Ellis Island, you're infected with something called anti-blackness, because that's the system upon which this country and much of the world was built. Now, that's actually a fact. Now, if you want to argue the facts, then we got a whole other thing that we need to do. But I'm looking at this, through a lens of like, I'm clear about what this is. I'm a person. I don't wake up thinking about being black or a woman. I think about being me, and I'm free to do that. And I want everyone else to be free to think about themselves as whole human beings and not as a part of a color or a gender. But if we can't even have a conversation about it, then how do we get there? Because this world requires you to be your full self. This world requires you to live up to your fingerprints. This world requires you. And when I say this world, I mean all of us. We need you to show up as your full self. And you can't do that if you're indoctrinated. And you can't do that if you're parroting a way of an ideology that is incongruent with people coming together. So I'm going to challenge it at every turn. If that makes you uncomfortable, good, sit in that discomfort and then do something about it. But what you're not going to do is, call up and call people racist, send in angry emails about this racist channel when Megyn Kelly's on a channel. You ain't going to do that. So, yeah, I said it. 866-801-8255. So I'm going to mind my business. So you also need to mind yours. That said, there's 2 clips I want to play today. I don't know in which order but it's the same theme of not just misinformation. There's a willful ignorance that is going around. It's a disease. It's worse than any COVID, and I'm not making light of this. There is an infection in people's brains and their souls and their spirit that allows them to say some of the most horrific things with conviction, and it's not true. It's not true. I'm gonna play the Roseanne Barr clip first, Amina. But before I do, please play the disclaimer.
The views expressed by the show's producers and its guests are not necessarily those of Karen Hunter or SiriusXM.
Before you play it, hold on. I'm going to add to this. These views expressed by Roseanne Barr and her horrible, and this is why everyone shouldn't have a platform, because this guy Theo, and I remember Theo, what the hell is Theo's last name? Let me look him up. He even lied and said he was black at some point. Theo, what the hell is Theo? Theo Vaughn. Now, I know Theo Vaughn because y'all know I watch a lot of trash TV and I watch a lot of these competition shows. Theo Vaughn used to be on The Challenge. I think he was on a Real World, Road Rules, one of these Real World. I think he was on Real World. And then he was on one of these challenge shows for a number of years. And then he got into, I think he might have gotten into some wrestling or something. And now he has a podcast because somehow everybody and their mother deserves to have a podcast. If you breathe, you can have a podcast. I got an opinion off of my dingleberries. I get to have a podcast, and I say it with bombacity. So I get to have a podcast because I'm able to speak in these very, strong tones with passion. And I believe what I'm saying. Or I get to talk to idiots like Roseanne Barr, who shouldn't even have a microphone in front of her mouth because her brain, either she has a UTI. Let me just clear this up, because UTIs have been known to create some sort of dementia-like behavior. At least I saw that on a Grey's Anatomy episode where an 80-year-old woman came in and she was having like dementia-like behavior. And then they found out she actually had a UTI, or was it syphilis? Well, Roseanne Barr allegedly might have one of those, or maybe she is experiencing dementia, or maybe she's just an idiot who has been an idiot her whole entire life under the guise of being funny. Whether she's grabbing her crotch and spitting at a baseball game, which some of y'all thought was cute, some of you thought was ridiculous, but somehow you gave her a whole ass show with her name on it, Hollywood. Her name was on the show. They had to remove her from her own show with her name on it. It continued with John Goodman and others after she called Valerie Jarrett a monkey. She referred to Valerie Jarrett as a monkey, and then claimed she didn't know she was a black woman. Some of y'all didn't know that either. But didn't matter. Didn't matter. Why are you calling a grown woman who's accomplished and amazing a monkey because you don't like her attachment to Barack Obama? Like, at some point, some of this has to make sense, and at some point, we all have to agree that this is reprehensible behavior and agree that this person should not have any airwaves. So Theo Vaughn bringing on a Roseanne Barr on a podcast when he has absolutely no knowledge of anything to be able to even sit and challenge somebody. This is why not everyone should get a microphone. You get a microphone when you've lived a life, when you've read some things, when you've experienced things, when you know some stuff, and then you're able to challenge and question, or you challenge and question, and you learn and you grow into that. But you don't just get to sit and but you do, because this is America and we are in idiocracy where everybody gets a mic, everyone has a platform, to our detriment, by the way. So he got to sit with Roseanne Barr, and he's putting a clip out because apparently, clicks mean everything. So we're not going to post, ladies, we're not going to put the clip out. We're going to play the clip, but we're not going to post it because I'm not trying for you to share it and things and keep it going, because all that does is he gets to now show these numbers to somebody and get some more sponsors, and he gets to have more money because clicks and algorithms are everything. They don't care about the content, these corporations. So we got to challenge them too. Like, who's sponsoring this show? Theo's show. Let's find that, because you're sponsoring an idiot. So that means you too must have poor judgment. So play the disclaimer again, but then as you listen to the disclaimer, know that the views expressed by Roseanne Barr do not at all follow what Karen Hunter believes at all. Play it.
The views expressed by the show's producers and its guests are not necessarily those of Karen Hunter or SiriusXM.
See? That's the truth. And
Yeah.
don't you dare say anything against it, or you'll be off YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other ones, because we have, there's such a thing as the truth and facts, and we have to stick to it. And,
It's scary.
and that is the truth. And nobody the Holocaust either.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It should happen. 6 million Jews right now because they cause all the problems in the world, but it never happened. But it never happened.
Yeah.
Mandated.
Well, because you're part Jewish, right? Part of your family's Jewish?
I'm all Jewish.
You're all Jewish.
100%.
And a lot of Hollywood is Jewish, yeah? It's like a lot of Hollywood is a Jewish business, really. Well, they started Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. But so was it weird
Just
that...
like rap. Black people started rap.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go over there and try to get in rap and go, all these black people, go on Saturday Night Live like Dave Chappelle. I'm just saying a lot of black people are in control of rap.
Right.
Hello?
Are they? No, actually, that's not true.
Well, you went there. You
Yeah.
try to get in show business. Of course it's Jewish. But, and people should be glad that it's Jewish too, because if Jews were not controlling Hollywood, all you'd have was fishing shows.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Theo says, Roseanne Barr, obviously using sarcasm and satire. She is a mensch and one of the funniest people I've ever met, which tells me you don't know funny. I didn't find anything funny about that. And just because she's Jewish doesn't give her the license to be able to say that the Holocaust never happened. Now, whether she believes that or not, whether she thought she was being funny, maybe this was a moment like her grabbing her crotch and spitting at a baseball game where she clearly hasn't figured out how to deliver this. Or should you be delivering content like this? Should you be delivering, if it's a joke, we should be in on it. And I say this as somebody that has studied the Holocaust, and I don't know why. As a little girl, there were a lot of movies on television when I was growing up, on TV, on regular TV. Playing for Time was one of them. Sobibor was on, and the Holocaust was on when I was in grade school. And I watched all of them and couldn't go to school the next day. Why? Because I couldn't imagine a world where people would do that to other human beings. And in my mind, in my little young mind, my 10, 11, 12-year-old mind, I thought that it could happen to us. Black people. And I promise you, for years, I had very poor vision, damn near legally blind until I got LASIK. But my biggest fear was that they would round us up and I would be on a car, on a train going somewhere, and my contacts would fall out and I couldn't see and I couldn't rescue anybody. Like, I would have these nightmares and dreams about not being able to see. And that was my biggest vulnerability. And then I got that fixed because I'm like, I'm fighting. What you not gonna do? We not gonna be rounded up. We rounded up. I'm out there. I'm fighting. I might get got, but I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take out as many people as possible. And I'm hoping some of us would not be scared and wait to go to die. Like, because they've done this before. You want to know why I know? Because a lot of the camps were liberated by black people. And you want to know how I know? I'm not talking out of the left side of my ass. I sat with a man. His name was Harvey Slayton. I spent hours with him. He actually was a soldier. He actually liberated one of the death camps. And he talked about the smell. He talked about the bodies lined up on these crates that they had outside of these death camps. He talked about how they were just stacked up like laundry, like stacked up like chips, just dead bodies. And he talked about seeing this himself. Today actually would have been his 100th birthday had he lived. He was a member of Bethany Baptist Church. And I got to sit with this man and he talked about his journey through Germany and how poorly as a black man he was treated while the German soldiers were treated like kings, like that nobody wanted to be around him because he was black. He talked about going to different, he was a musician as well, these places where he would play and sing and throughout Europe and this just how coming back home and being treated as less than a human being while he went over there to he liberated death camps. A black man and many black people. Some of you have people in your family who have these stories. Today, Harvey Slayton would have been 100 years old. Today is his birthday. So I know that the Holocaust existed. So why are you saying this, Roseanne Barr? What is the side? And then the whole thing about Hollywood. Are you leaning into the tropes? How do you think this is? I mean, this is such a complicated thing with these people, these Trump supporters. Jared Kushner is also a Jewish man who could sit there at the same time as Stephen Miller is on this. So I'm trying to figure out what the game is here, right? So there's this anti-Jews will not replace us thing with the tiki torches. Heather Heyer lost her life in one of those rallies, right? You got the folk killing black folk in churches and in grocery stores. So you know that you're going to throw t-shirts out there with blacks for Trump, knowing damn well that ain't really a thing. Yes, we're not monolithic, but we're also not stupid. So we're not voting for people who we know openly hate us. You got Ron DeSantis doing something really strange in Florida around immigration and removing black history, right? Texas, Arkansas, there's something happening in this world right now. And then you got Roseanne Barr's ass out here talking about the Holocaust didn't happen. It should have, she says, as a Jewish woman. And we're supposed to chuckle along with Roseanne Barr. Salt Lake City, Utah, of all places, born to an Orthodox Jewish family. Her mom was a bookkeeper and a cashier. Her father, Jerome Herschel, they changed their name, by the way, to Barr, was a salesman. Why? Why did they change their names? Their original name was Borofsky. Changed to Barr. Grandparents changed to Barr. Why? Because this country's racist. You got Trump's daddy at a Klan Nazi rally getting arrested. Matter of fact, New York, Madison Square Garden had like 30,000 Nazis, rallying in the 1930s, right? Over this issue of what? Jews and black people. And then you want to talk about Hollywood created by Jews, which that's another thing. So black people will start to parrot those things, right? You'll hear those notions. And then I sit in that and I'm like, well, so what's the goal there? What's the goal there? And then she says black people run rap. No, black people do not run rap. Because if real black people ran rap, we wouldn't have coochie pink booty hole brown. We wouldn't be having all of these commentaries around body parts and drank and scissor and weed and cocaine and killing and guns. And we wouldn't have John Moran out there waving guns to a funky beat. We wouldn't have any of that. If black people ran rap, we wouldn't have that. Right? So do black people run rap? And what would it look like if black people ran rap? If Chuck D actually ran rap, KRS-One ran rap, if rap was in the hands of people like the leaders of the New School and Queen Latifah and MC Lyte, if rap were in the hands of people who cared about people, would it look like it looks today? So she, first of all, is ignorant as F. She's also not funny. But she's also America, because Roseanne Barr, or Roseanne Cherry Borofsky, is parroting something that is very prevalent. And because many of us live in these nice cities of these pockets of the gorgeous mosaic, as David Dinkins once called New York, we don't see it. She grew up in Salt Lake City. How many black folk in Salt Lake City, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Indiana? How many? I mean, their pockets. Seattle even has, some black people in Washington State, New Hampshire, all y'all Bernie bros up there. How many black people in the place that he's from? Why would he live in a state that is 99%, 97, 96% white? Like, let's so-called, because it's a made-up construct, the homogeny in this country, I think many of us don't even understand. And coupled with the fact that you have no relationship with people, 3/4, that's an NBC poll, no relationship, and your only entrance into any other culture is through media, through television, through movies, and through music. Coochie pink, booty hole brown. That's what you see. That's who we are. And we're not any of that. We're some of that. We're a smidge of that. But we're not most of that. So Roseanne Barr is problematic.
I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one